It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. That's right, it's time for KP's Video News, y'all. And I have a case here, and I'm gonna jumping right in. Feet first. Got a Bronx woman gets a $1.25 million settlement from city after a cop rips her eye out. And the cop reportedly used a handcuff key to gouge her eye out. A Bronx woman named JOHANNA ALOMAR suffered the loss of her left eye while being arrested by the NYPD officer in 2018 and will now be the recipient of a $1.2 million settlement. The incident began when ALOMAR asked officers why they were handcuffing her friend. One of the cops, identified as Teresa Lustica, waved a bag at her and said that the bag contained heroin. ALOMAR then tapped Lustica on her back as her friend was being led to the police car, though the officer claims that she shoved her. As a reaction, Lustica spun around and began delivering punches to her face with a handcuff key in her hand, essentially gouging her eye out, her left eye. Now, ALOMAR is left with an acrylic prosthetic eye because the doctors couldn't save it. And she says that when she takes it out, she feels very, very bad, and she's always going to feel like a monster. The police department cleared Lustica of any wrongdoing and said that her use of force was neither excessive nor unnecessary. However, they were not able to confirm whether or not Lustica used a handcuff key during the scuffle. Charges against ALOMAR, which included assault, harassment, and obstruction, were dropped. Though ALOMAR is happy for the settlement, according to her lawyer, she does feel something should have happened to the officer. And the settlement is just one of $3 million payouts that the NYPD has agreed to deliver this year. So far, New York has paid out approximately $27 million in settlement money towards 537 misconduct cases against cops this year in 2020. Last year, the city paid out more than $68 million in settlements in response to over 1,000 lawsuits that included accusations of wrongful arrest, imprisonment, force, and malicious prosecution. Payouts agreed to settle over the last 5 years by the NYPD reportedly total up to $300 million they have paid in cases. Wow. That's something, man. That is a lot of money they have been paying out in these cases where they've been doing bad things. So out of that part right there, I don't really understand. It's like you saying this particular person didn't do anything wrong, but then you turn around and you get a settlement for $1.25 million. I don't understand that. So, rather than he should have brought that cop up on charges. Anyway, this is a recent story, and this is just a follow-up I'm doing here. And the Georgia cop that beat the black lift passenger unconscious was fired. The passenger was taken into custody where he remains behind bars. And the Clayton County Sheriff deputy who brutalized the black rideshare passenger unconscious has been fired, officials announced. And the man, who has now been identified as 26-year-old Roderick Walker, was arrested following the beating and was taken into custody at Clayton County Jail for 2 counts of battery and 2 counts of obstructing just officers. Following the family's demand for his immediate release from jail, Clayton County confirmed that the deputy who repeatedly struck Roderick Walker is being terminated from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office by the order of the Sheriff Victor Hill for excessive use of force. Additionally, the case will be turned over to the Clayton County DA's office for investigation, who would then decide whether to pursue charges against the cop. And a photo of Walker's injuries was shared on social media and in Atlanta, and among them include a blackened left eye, and an x-ray was performed as part of the medical treatment, and no fractures were detected, according to the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. He remains in jail, in a jail hospital, where his staff will continue to monitor him. And so Walker's lawyer, Sean Williams, is calling the charges against Walker frivolous. Roger Walker is in jail solely because he was illegally arrested after being assaulted by Clayton County Sheriff deputies, not because of anything he did during the incident or in the past. Williams said in a statement, Mr. Walker will not be in a jail if it not for the unlawful arrest that violated his legal rights and constitutional rights. Walker, his girlfriend, and 5-year-old son were in a ride share on Friday when the cops pulled over the driver of the ride share for a broken tail light. The driver didn't have his license, so the police began to ask Walker and his girlfriend for their IDs. When Walker questioned why, a video captured by a witness shows the deputy took to kneeling on Walker and punching him repeatedly as blood leaked from his face and he went in and out of consciousness. At one point, Walker can be heard yelling, "I can't breathe," and the driver was not charged or arrested in the incident. And his attorney, Williams, is requesting that the Clayton County District Attorney's Office pursue criminal charges against the two involved deputies. He is also asking that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation launch an independent investigation into what happened. Guy wasn't even driving. He wasn't even driving the car. And it's a crazy situation. So here we go with another situation. This happened in Michigan. They have a black family says windows were smashed in a racially motivated attack. And a black family that lives in the suburbs of Detroit was a target of an attack that was believed to be racially motivated. On Wednesday, September 9th, Eddie and Candace Hall were at home with their 18-year-old son when they heard a hissing sound and went to figure out what it was. Upon noticing someone was hiding behind the car outside of their home, Eddie was en route to retrieve his gun in another room when their window was smashed. A huge rock shattered the glass and landed on the couch, and the man in the ski mask and hoodie was seen running away from the home. As I was walking through the room, all I heard was a crash, Candace stated, and glass was flying, and she dropped to the floor and started crawling. She was scared. When the cops arrived to the scene, they noticed a swastika and the phrases, "Terrorist Black Lives Matter," "Get the fuck out," and "Not welcome" on Hall's car. Candace believes that she and her family members are the victim of a racist attack attributed to Black Lives Matter, and there's tension because of Black Lives Matter and white supremacists. Candace explained in a Facebook video detailing the tragic occurrence. "We are all shook up from this. We're not running. I'm not going to leave. We're not leaving. We're standing our ground," she stated. And Mayor James Fouts took to Facebook to respond to the incident and confirm his ongoing pursuit of justice. "Our city is a true melting pot of many different races. All help to make Warren a good community," he wrote. They are welcome, but those who want to peddle hate and cause destruction are not welcome in Warren, Michigan, and should be aware that our city leadership and myself in particular will never stop in the pursuit of justice. And the police department is currently offering a reward to anyone with further information on the case as they review video footage. So they do have video footage of this particular situation. Crazy situation, boy, I tell you. So anyway, now our next story here, we have George Floyd's family to be honored during the Minnesota Vikings game. And the Minnesota Vikings did honor the family of George Floyd, the black man who was killed at the hands of a Minneapolis police officers on Memorial Day. According to the statement released by the team, Floyd's family would be recognized at the U.S. Bank Stadium following the performances of Lift Every Voice and Sing, an opening game ceremony against the Green Bay Packers. The team's also addressed the issues of racism through other practices. The players wore T-shirts with the words "Be the Change," and on the front, the names of 200 people that have been killed by racial violence or police brutality on the back. Additionally, the end zones of the field were marked with the messages, "It takes all of us and end racism." Players had the option to wear helmet decals in the name of a victim of systemic racism. They also wore the decals for the first game of the or opt to keep their own on their own helmets for the entire season. And other NFL teams also plan to combat racism and police brutality during the season as well. And the Dolphins announced they would stay in their locker room during the playing of the Star Spangled Banner and lift every voice and sing. In almost a 2-minute video clip, the team shared their reasons behind the decision to stay in the locker room. So that's them, what they're doing down there. That don't have nothing to do with this particular story. Anyway, I'm gonna go on to these other two stories here. And Lewis Hamilton wears "Arrested Cops Who Killed Breonna Taylor" shirt before the Grand Prix. And he's a British race car driver, but he's also a black. And six-time Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton delivered a strong message ahead of the Tuscan Grand Prix on Sunday, September 13th, demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. Before the race, a phenomenon hit the track. He took a knee wearing a black T-shirt that read, "Arrested Cops That Killed Breonna Taylor," and say her name on the back. It's been 6 months since Breonna Taylor was murdered by policemen in her own home, Hamilton captured in a post on Instagram. Still, no justice has been served, and we won't stay silent. Taylor, 25, was asleep in her bed when Louisville officers executed a no-knock warrant at her home in the middle of the night, and she was shot 10 times. She was shot 10 times, striking Taylor, but she got hit 8 times. She was pronounced dead at the scene. So far, the officers who were involved, Brett Hankerson, John Mattingly, Miles Cosgrove, have yet to be charged. On Wednesday, September 9th, Kentucky Attorney General Cameron announced that a grand jury would decide what charges they will face. And let's see. So Hamilton, they all got fired, but they haven't been given any charges. So Hamilton, who has been very supportive of Black Lives Matter movement in recent months as Black lives continue to be brutalized by cops in America, though he lives in the United Kingdom, Hamilton has been active in attending protests in London and regularly dons some type of clothing item with a social justice message. So that's one of my all-time favorite drivers, F1 Formula One car driver Lewis Hamilton, and he's a definite winner. I think it said five-time champion, and he'll probably be champion again this year at the end of the season. And with this next story, Naomi Osaka today. She won the U.S. Open, and she sent a powerful message about Black lives. And the Grand Slam champion wants people to never forget that Black lives taken away due to social injustice. And I'm feeling her on that. Tennis champ Naomi Osaka won her 3rd Grand Slam title and the 2nd U.S. Open title on Saturday, September 12th in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and her Grammy Award-winning boyfriend Corday was there to cheer her on as they both used their respective platform for social justice. Naomi went through the U.S. Open tournament. She made sure to bring awareness to the many Black lives lost at the hands of police such as Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and Trayvon Martin, and countless others, by wearing a protective mask with their names on it. In turn, the families of Martin and Arbery have both recently expressed gratitude toward Osaka for the support. Following suit, Corday rooted her on from the stands with a shirt that read "Defund the Police." He also wore various tees with social justice messages on them as he supported Osaka through her entire tournament. The 22-year-old athlete was also compelled to pull out of the Western and Southern Open in New York in August following the police killing of Jacob Blake as a form of protest and continued genocide of black people. Following her victory against Azarenka, she was asked what was the message she wanted to send with the 7 masks that she wore with the names of police brutality victims. And she stated, well, what was the message that you got was more of the question, Osaka told a reporter. I feel like the point is to make people start talking. After Osaka's win, Corday stood right next by her side in a photo op with her and a trophy in a now viral moment that shows the rapper trying to figure out how he should pose. Anyway, she said, Osaka has been a fearless leader on the road to social justice and has not been afraid to use her power for greater purpose. The goal for her was to get people talking, and it seems that her mission has been accomplished along with another Grand Slam win. I would like to thank my ancestors because every time I remember their bloods run through my veins, I am reminded that I cannot lose, Osaka said in a tweet this morning after her win. And she is, I believe her mother's Japanese and her father's from Haiti. Anyway, she recognizes her black roots, and that's Naomi Osaka over there, and she won the U.S. Open, and she's sending a message, man. She's sending a message out there. I think she had like a Trayvon Martin. Did she have a Trayvon Martin on yesterday? Yeah, I believe she had a Breonna Taylor. She had a Tamir Rice. She had a Tamir Rice mask on when she accepted her trophy. So that's the 12. Tamir Rice was the 12-year-old kid in Cleveland that got murdered by a cop in Cleveland. You know, cop just jumped out the car, man, and just shot the kid. The kid had a toy gun, not a real gun, a toy gun. 12-year-old child, and he was murdered by a cop. You know, so these things don't stop. Peace.